Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Senior Services Alliance panel on how do I prepare for a sudden event. Today, we have a couple of distinguished guests with us. We have our moderator, that will be Carol Otto. We have Elizabeth Crider, who will be speaking on senior living. We have Margaret O'Connor, who will be speaking about estate planning. Dr. Emily McCullough, who will be speaking on the medical side. Jerry Welch, who will be speaking about real estate. And Joelle Hines, who will be speaking about the financial side of everything. So what I'll do right now is I'll turn it over to Carol Otto, our moderator, and she'll get things started.
Hello. As members of the Senior Services, we organized to have a wonderful community event called Aging a Family Fair that, due to the COVID stay in place and stay safe orders, we are not holding, but we've pulled together these ideas for you virtually, and it's being prepared now. And as Shaun already mentioned, our topic is how do I prepare for a sudden event? As moderator, I'm Carol Otto with We Speak Medicare, and I'm a local independent broker providing Medicare education to help folks with their transition into Medicare options. And then if they wish, I can enroll them, and then I'm their agent. And they've got that local support and help instead of an 800 number far away. So that's just a little bit about me. We're going to take a moment and let everyone introduce themselves. And I'm going to start just right down the row here with, let's start with Joelle.
And I'm a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley. I sit alongside my clients and I help them identify financial goals and put plans into place. And I'm really good at helping my clients navigate through transitions. And right now we are going through a major transition.
Thank you. And let's move on to Jerry.
Hello, my name is Jerry Welch. I am a realtor with Ebby Halliday in Rockwall, Texas. I work with both young and old, assist whether it's buying or selling. But one of the things I do try to specialize in is working with our seniors. They do require a little bit of unique assistance at times. And that's one of the challenges, but it's also one of the most rewarding things that we can do. And I look forward to the questions and seeing if we can assist you as you go through possibly some life changes within yourself and your own circumstances.
Thank you, Jerry. Let's move on to our doctor, dear Emily.
Hi there, I'm Dr. Emily McCullough, and I'm a family physician at Premier Independent Physicians of Rockwall. I care for patients of all ages. However, as one of the few practices in Rockwall that still accepts new Medicare patients, I have the honor of caring for many of our community's seniors. My areas of expertise include both acute and chronic medical conditions.
Thank you, Dr. McCullough. And let's move on to Elizabeth.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth with Iris Memory Care Rowlett. Iris is an open concept specialized dementia specific memory care in a small, intimate, home-like environment. And I'm so proud of professionals in this industry that have put the seniors and their health and well-being first in these unprecedented times and have worked tirelessly to create a safe, nurturing environment for all seniors.
Thank you. And Elizabeth, we'll hear more from you. Let's move on to Margaret.
Good afternoon. My name is Margaret O'Connor, and I'm an attorney in Rockwall with the Law Office of Susan Satterwhite. My areas of practice include preparing wills and disability documents such as powers of attorney and advance directives. And I work with people to help them coordinate their non-probate assets with their probate assets and to get their estate plan together. And I also handle trust administrations and guardianships.
Thank you very much, Margaret. As we move forward then, let me just remind those listening that we're not professional at being on video. We're doing our best. We're really good one-to-one in person. And our topic that we are going to address is, how do I prepare for a sudden event? And let's go ahead and go through that order. I'm trying to mix things up a little bit. Dr. McCullough, could I call on you? in preparing for the sudden event, the question is going to be, with recent events, what were you glad that clients had in place prior to the quarantine requirements?
So for my patients, community support has been an essential factor in continuing care during the stay-at-home orders. Most of my patients own a smartphone themselves and hold in their hands the ability to have a virtual visit with their primary care provider. However, not everyone possesses the tech savvy to log in for that virtual visit. So I've been especially grateful for my patients' family, neighbors, home health agents, and other community members who have stepped up to help, especially my senior patients, with connecting to me online.
That's wonderful. Good to know. And then let's move on to Elizabeth. Can you answer that same question?
Yes, Joelle. I've been so relieved that the residents in our community and the other senior living communities had in mind all of their wishes and on file all of their things ahead of time. Things like their medical powers of attorney, their financial powers of attorney, the DNR forms, which is do not resuscitate forms, and have everything in place for what they've chosen, living wills, and also a complete social history and life story. And that's become completely important for us because the families don't have the access to the individuals like they did before.
Interesting. Homework we can always get ready. Thank you. And let's move on to Jerry. Jerry, can you give us the real estate perspective on this question?
Yes, actually, from the real estate perspective, we've been very fortunate. The governor deemed that real estate is actually considered a necessary financial service, much like Joelle is. And we have seen some changes. We've yet to have really anyone that is wanting to sell their home turn us down for showings. But when we do go in, we try to be a lot more cautious, try not to touch anything that doesn't necessarily have to be. And I have seen several clients and different things wearing masks, but we're actually very fortunate that that's about as far as it's gone. We do look forward to this being behind us. And just from a quick perspective, we have been told that more than likely the home market, the pricing is not going to drop. It's probably going to hold steady as to where it is. And after this is over and we're able to get back to regular business, that the housing economy should prosper, and they're actually predicting 2020 to be about the same as 2019, even with a couple of the years or a couple of the months that we haven't been able to work quite up to our normal standards.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Joelle, may we pull on your perspective now?
Clients had a financial plan in place. So with a plan, they were able to see whether any goals were affected and if adjustments needed to be made. And then having a plan also minimized anxiety because it helped put the situation in perspective. So that's what I'm really glad that they had in place prior to the situation we're in now.
Okay, thank you. And then let's pick up with our legal. Margaret, could you help us with your perspective?
Yes, and I would just kind of echo what Elizabeth mentioned as far as the powers of attorney. The medical and the durable power of attorney are very important documents, and they're very powerful documents. And these typically require a lot of thought and consideration for the people that you're going to name as your agents, and the specific authorities that you're going to give to these people. And these are documents that need to be completed when you're not under a time crunch or you're not under a lot of stress, and you have a clear mind and are able to make some good, well-reasoned decisions. So the people that had these documents in place already were at a great disadvantage, or great advantage rather, over some people that did not have them and then found out that they needed them. So the powers of attorney and then of course the wills and trusts are also always good documents to have in place. Many people had these documents in place and maybe haven't looked at them in 10 or 15 years. And so that puts them at a similar disadvantage to the people that didn't have them.
Oh, I like how you brought it up as review what we have, even if we thought we had it crossed off our list. Thank you for sharing that. Did I get all the panelists? I think I did. I think we can move on to our next question, which would be, what can you as professionals do to assist clients in preparing for future events? You know, we listen to the news on the TV and it could be this, it could be something else that comes up personally too. So let's go ahead and mix this up. And this time, let's start with Joelle.
So this situation has highlighted the need for financial planning and the requirement for active strategy. Many had been able to take a passive approach to investing because the financial markets had been going so well. Now's the time that you have some structure around goals and actually strategize.
And you help them with that then. I get that. All right, let's go to Elizabeth. Could you tell us how it works for you? Elizabeth, there you are.
Yes, sorry. Yes, so I believe that this event has put even more in perspective the need to find the best possible environment for your loved ones, not just medically, but socially, physically, and mentally, and prepare every detail of care in advance so that you know what you're looking at and you're not trying to make a change during a crisis.
Oh, thank you. May we call on Dr. Emily? Would that work next?
So as pertains to still this crisis, I think there's some future planning that's necessary as we consider, what comes next in dealing with this pandemic. As our local and broader communities begin to discuss lifting the current restrictions, which help to minimize the spread of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, it's essential for everyone to understand that the virus will still be present in the community, and we will experience an increase in the cases of the virus if we do not continue to be judicious about social contact. So I can assist by educating my patients in the community about precautions that we can take, and encourage them to continue to make wise choices about venturing out in public. So the CDC has recommended that all Americans wear a mask when out in public. I will encourage everyone to follow CDC recommendations and wear a mask when in public. When we have regular clinic hours again, it will be a requirement here that my patients are wearing a mask to protect themselves, other patients, my staff, and myself, because no one's immune to potentially catching this virus. As a lifelong germaphobe, I've been doing a little bit of a happy dance, knowing that now everyone is encouraged to wash their hands, like I personally have always felt that they should have been. But continue washing your hands, avoiding touching your face, and just, general hygiene. And then some social norms are going to need to change, at least temporarily, like they already have in general. I'm thinking in particular of the physical contact that we make on a regular basis. The firm Texas handshake greeting will have to wait until another time. It is heartbreaking, but we should continue to refrain from hugging and kissing our loved ones who live outside of our own household. I think with these things in mind, it's important to keep perspective that these changes are just temporary. And as we're reintroduced into society, we're going to learn more about how the virus is spreading and how we can avoid it. We will not always have to wear masks or avoid contact, things that are going to feel uncomfortable at first. But in the interim, it would be wise to continue being cautious until we know more.
Thank you, Dr. Emily. That is wonderful. I have a hope that my grandkids can hug me again.
Exactly.
Let's move on to Margaret next, right?
One of the things that I've learned and that we've seen in this particular crisis is there are some people that are quarantined in facilities and they are isolated from their family members being able to visit with them. And so they've definitely had to rely on family members and friends to handle affairs for them. So again, it's just super important to have a durable power of attorney in place and a medical power of attorney in place. And in addition, a listing somewhere of what your financial obligations are each month, so that the people that are needing to step in an emergency situation have a starting point to know, what are the bills that I need to be paying for you? Where do I find this account information? So just some general personal file organization and contact numbers. It's a very helpful tool for anyone that has to step in and assist someone in a time of crisis.
Oh, thank you. Those are good ideas that we can work on. Jerry, are you my last one? Have you answered this question?
No, I have not. And yes, I am the last one.
Okay.
One of the things most people, when they're getting ready to sell a home, probably have got some ideas from a timing standpoint. We do offer several services that will allow them to prepare the house before it gets ready. But one of the things I probably see more often than not are buyers that want to buy a home, but yet they have not talked to a financial professional, really do not know if they can afford one, and if so, how much they can afford. And so that is one of the big preps that I would like to see people do a little more regular. From a real estate perspective, we're probably not as impacted by all of this, but those are just some preparations that they need to be looking forward to do.
Thank you, Jerry. Those are good thoughts too. So to keep us moving forward and in time, I have another question to present. So in your profession, what requirements have been added or processes changed as a result of recent events? I kind of felt Dr. McCullough already answered this to a degree, but let's have her start with this one again.
Okay. So in the future, I feel like telehealth is going to be a much more common mode of communication between patients and their doctors, or at least I certainly hope so, because a lot of my patients, many now prefer it. Telehealth is an easy way to care for many common problems. And when we return to our usual busy routine, some may find a virtual visit is more convenient than a trip to my office. I am hopeful that major insurance companies will continue to cover these services.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Let's move on to Margaret. May we take you and your perspective?
Yes, we've had to really change our operating procedures quite drastically at the office, as a lot of people have. We're not doing in-person conferences and consultations with people, and we're using Zoom and teleconferencing to discuss estate planning and other matters, and it's different. It takes some getting used to. I much prefer the person-to-person consultation, and hopefully we'll be back to the point where we're able to do business like that again before too long. But it's made executing documents, signing documents in front of a notary or witnesses is difficult as well. So we've had to really adapt our methods of executing documents. I do think that some people enjoy the Zoom conferences, and that may be something that is a holdover, and we continue to do that with some clients. But again, not everyone has the technology or the ability to use those types of meetings, and it has a limited use, I suppose.
Thank you. May we move on to Elizabeth? Are you ready?
Yes. So a lot has changed in the senior housing industry, nursing homes, memory cares, all of that. And I'm sure everyone is aware of that. We had to stop bringing in non-essential visitors, and that included families. And we've had to step up to encourage communication from our residents to their families. and participation in the life of the community, since they are in communities and they're stuck in the communities. So we're enlisting new concepts like video calling, window visits, Facebook, Zoom, have also been introduced. We're also doing some online participation with places like the Parks and Recreation departments. Entertainers are now hosting their sessions online so that the residents can still watch that. Communities are bringing in and doing parades and Zoom events like we're doing today, and having people do things like paint the windows and sending cards and letters. So I believe all this is going to make our, and it's going to keep our seniors more engaged and better around all environment for them. So I'm super excited about what it's brought to seniors.
Thank you. So you brought a note of change that's very positive and emotional, that people like the appreciation and the extra contact that we're working towards, even though we're apart but not alone.
Correct. And it's exciting because the seniors have been behind in all of that technology before.
We caught him up. Let's move to Jerry, so he's not last this time, and then it'll be Joelle on this question.
Yeah, we've been striving to kind of increase our technology. We've been using DocuSign so that we don't have to be one-on-one for signatures. We've been using that for a good while, but we do have another tool. It's called Zocum. And Zocum actually allows you to take a photo of a check and send it directly to the title company so that buyers are not required to do one-on-one delivery for that. We have seen a lot similar to what we're doing here. Too bad I didn't buy stock in Zoom several months back, because it seems like half the meetings that I attend are Zoom meetings. And one of the things that I foresee probably being a little challenge is we probably need to do a little better job of descriptions and photos when we get a home that is being listed. One of the things that I've tried to do over the past several years is actually not just do all the photos, but do a very specific description of each photo so they know what they're looking at. And then I also try to do a virtual, what I call a walking tour. So nothing fancy. I take my cell phone and go from the front door all the way through all the different rooms, all the way to the back of the house. And what I have found that does is that gives people a little better perspective of what room is next to what. And I've actually done that for a lot of my out-of-town clients, and it seems to work extremely well. I have had people, matter of fact, I closed one this week. The purchaser's in California and he's never seen the house. Now that is blind trust. I hope he likes it. He's still in California. He hasn't made it here yet.
Thank you. All right, let's go with Joelle.
So as a certified financial planner, I've always been required to put the client first, and that hasn't changed. I've been very lucky that Morgan Stanley has an infrastructure to help me support my clients even remotely. We have electronic signature. We have been using Zoom for meetings. I've actually been more connected with clients through this because of the tools that we have access to. So this has been actually really great to just help clients stay abreast of the financial opportunities.
Thank you. Well, we have one more question that we want to sneak in here quick, and I'll encourage everyone with some quick answers here as I'm looking at the time. Our question is, what are the top 3 mistakes you see clients make? Let's help them overcome those. Let's start with Elizabeth.
Okay, so the first and biggest mistake is trying to get seniors up to date with every detail of things and force them into our reality instead of just embracing the reality that they're in and help them see the positive results and just be there for them no matter what. Also, if you wait to provide documentation or follow up on medications, things like that, that's a thing that we need to be better at. And then this crisis has taught us to get things in order and be prepared for anything that happens way ahead of time. And then lastly, one of the biggest mistakes we make is to panic. We, must take everything one step at a time. Keep calm around the seniors and for your loved ones, and that's good for everyone, including yourself.
Good advice there. Joelle, let's catch up to you again.
So the mistakes that I see clients make is not establishing goals that recognize that financial planning encompasses more than investments. For example, goals also include preparing for potential healthcare needs. That's something that Dr. McCullough has touched on. Or using insurance to manage risk, less anxiety. I also see clients who don't protect their financial accounts with proper titling. And this is something I think that Margaret's going to touch on too. Because I encourage clients to make sure that their accounts have clear transfer on death instructions. Another area of opportunity is communication among the generations, sitting to discuss financial strategy. It doesn't have to be overly detailed, and I can always be present to help with those types of discussions with families.
Good to know. And with that, let's transition to Margaret.
Okay, the top 3 mistakes I see people making, please do not go to the internet and download legal forms and try to use those. That usually turns into a terrible disaster with causing many more problems than you hope to solve. So that is probably the number one advice I can give to anyone. Estate planning it's a tailored process that should be customized to your personal situation, and the forms that you find on the internet are probably not going to be tailored to fit your needs. Another thing I would caution against is just don't wait too long to put your backup team together. Get your friends and family lined up and let someone know what your plans are and what role they play in your plan. And then lastly, there's a misconception that some people have that they think if they don't have a will, then their estate will not have to go through probate. That is not true. It still has to go through probate, and it has to go through an heirship determination. So you're not cutting any corners or making anything any easier if you do not execute a will. And just in a nutshell, everyone needs a medical power of attorney, a durable power of attorney. Those are our disability documents so that others can help us. And then for the benefit of your family, you need a will.
Thank you. That's good to help, and we can work on that. Let's move to Dr. McCullough. Go ahead.
All right. So I think top 3 mistakes. First of all, like most everyone has already touched on advanced directives, medical, financial power of attorney. Those documents, the importance cannot be understated. And then I think from my perspective, it would be a mistake for anyone to not be taking advantage of the services that make our current, burdensome situation a little bit easier. Convenient services like telehealth and home delivery of medications or medical supplies. And then third, I think there's a lot of misconception and misunderstanding out there that their doctor's offices are not open, that they're not available, or even that they can't go to the emergency room for anything other than COVID. That's just not true. A lot of doctors' offices have changed the way that we're practicing to doing, telehealth virtual visits with video or doing phone calls when that's not possible. And the emergency room, of course, is always open to you, and there's no reason to wait until things get severe for you to seek medical care for any reason. It doesn't have to be pandemic related at this time.
Thank you. And then Jerry, are you last again?
I'm last again, but that's fine. Nothing wrong with being last. He who is last is first. So I would echo what the others have said, even in the real estate perspective. I work with a lot of seniors that maybe their spouse passed away and they've been in the house 10, 20, 30 years, haven't even thought about whether the will was probated or not. So we've got some issues there that we have to watch out for. I would also encourage people not to be fearful. If now is the time to buy or to sell, call me, because we still have a lot of activity. People think that there's no activity, and about every 2 or 3 days, I've been trying to do a snapshot off of the Rockwall County activity. That it's a report that I get in, and being able to see the number of sales, the number of new listings. We have not shut down. And if they are thinking about purchasing, that they make sure and get at least pre-qualified through a lender before they jump in. And they might actually be surprised at, especially with the new low interest rates, they might be surprised how much home they can afford to buy. Hopefully that's helpful.
Oh, everyone's been helpful. Thank you so much to each of our panelists. Again, we are about to conclude with the presentation of Aging a Family Affair in a virtual panel where we've talked about some of the areas of expertise that your local professionals can offer. And we do this because we love our seniors and our senior community. And just again, to remind everybody who everybody is, see if I can do it right here. First, let's start with me, because I can do that right, I think. Carol Otto with We Speak Medicare, an independent broker to help you with your needs in the transition to Medicare. Then I see next Joelle, and Joelle Hines is a financial advisor with, I don't know what your title was exactly, but with Morgan Stanley. Then we have Margaret, as you're going across my computer, and she is a local attorney with Susan Satterwhite. And here in Rockwall. Then we have Dr. Emily McCullough. Am I saying it right? And she's got it. We have Elizabeth with Iris Memory Care for when we really need some help that way and support. And then I'm going to turn it right back to Shaun with the Rockwall Chamber. Thanks, Shaun, for hosting and getting us all together.
Thank you for participating. And also don't want to forget about Jerry Welch with Ebby Halliday Realtors. But yeah, thank you everybody for participating. On behalf of SSA and the Rockwall Chamber, this has been a great service that we've been able to provide to our members. So once again, thank you, and we look forward to seeing some of y'all in future panels.